to her. "They're only reading glasses," he said, noting the price tag. "Still," she said, not quite getting his meaning. He reached toward her and readjusted them on the bridge of her nose. She looked at herself in the mirror. She knew how much they cost without even looking at the little tag on the stem. She knew it because they had been designed by someone who also lent his name to expensive clothes and shoes, things people wore on cruises or at society weddings. It didn't matter. She rarely spoiled herself. She spent her days working at home in jeans or sweatpants, in sweatshirts or sweaters, and in the summer wore shorts and a t-shirt or a blouse tied at the waist, times when she was invisible. When she went before the public, she dressed more stylishly, at readings or delivering a talk, at a restaurant with a friend, or on the few occasions she'd been asked out by a man and accepted it. "Look at me," he said. "Look at my eyes." And it seemed a little dangerous to her, looking a man directly in the face with absolute forthrightness. It had always been uncomfortable for her since the divorce, as if by showing so much of herself to another, she might also display in some obscure manner a diagram of her life, the curve that rose and fell in the elegant shape of deception. The code of her face would reveal it in the way her eyes shifted to the side, or in the set of her mouth, the tilt of her head, the way she moved the hair away from her cheek. She felt his hands brush against her temples as he slid the frames back onto her face. She sensed the faint peppermint whisper of his breath. She looked at the dark brown of his eyes, the way his eyebrows met, the slight rise of his upper lip. She wondered how much scrutiny she could bear before the inevitable flaws became visible. "They suit you," he said. "A good choice." They would be ready in a few days. 2. The interview had been arranged for 4, less than an hour away, and the moment she got in the car, she remembered it. She tightened her lips and said, "Oh, shit," and drove out of the parking area and onto the highway. She was sorry she hadn't arranged it for the next morning, or even canceled it altogether. She tried to recall the voice on the phone, the way the interviewer asked for directions. She lived in the city, the woman from the newspaper said. "I'll take the highway up." Amelie described her home, an old farmhouse set on a rise off the road, the low stone pillars that stood on either side of the entrance, a red mailbox that, like her, had seen better days. She said that her car would be in the driveway, a dark blue Volvo. This was the house she and Richard had taken so much trouble to find, to renovate, to enjoy. She wondered if it needed to be cleaned, if she should haul out the vacuum and run it over the wide pine floors, or if she should give a quick dusting to the tables and lamps, even though the cleaning woman had been there 2 days earlier. She knew it didn't matter, that no interviewer had ever passed judgment on how she lived, the imagined squalor of her living room. She turned on the radio and opened the window. A driver in the next lane turned to look at her. His little mustache rose in a smile, and she looked at him through dark glasses and eased her foot slightly off the accelerator. She watched as he pulled ahead, his head tilting to catch her image in the narrow slit of his rearview mirror. She turned up the volume on the radio. A woman was singing in German while an oboe twisted its melody into hers. It was obviously something by Bach, from a cantata probably, a piece that her mother would certainly have been able to identify. She tapped her fingers lightly against the steering wheel, for there was something comforting in the rhythm, the mathematical regularity of the pizzicato behind the woman's yearning voice, as though each beat were a step higher on some celestial staircase. It was 3:30 when she arrived home. She opened the refrigerator and put her finger to her lips. She would have to offer the interviewer something. And because it was warm and they could sit out on the deck under the umbrella, she wondered if she should make a pitcher of instant ice.